Hey guys, Sean with Long Honeymoon here, coming to you on a very windy day near Moab, Utah. Many of you have told me over the years that you're very interested in camping on Bureau of Land Management land, out in the wilderness, and yet you're hesitant to give up the safety and security of a campground. What if I told you there is a perfect compromise? I'm talking about BLM campgrounds. That's right, there are actual campgrounds that are positioned on Bureau of Land Management property. And quite often these campgrounds are located very near some of the most scenic areas of our country. For example, if I had a Nerf football in my hands, I could toss it and it would land in Arches National Park. However, I'm currently on Bureau of Land Management land. We are presently at Goose Island Campground. This is a Bureau of Land Management campground located not far at all from Moab, and it is adjacent to Arches National Park. Now, what do you get when you come to a BLM campground? Well, there's a self-check-in process, and these sites are first come, first serve. So no reservations, which I kind of like. You just have to go out and explore, and when you find a site you like at one of these campgrounds, you circle back to the pay station, and in this particular campground, the cost is $20 per night. So on the left of the road at the campground entrance, you will find the so-called fee station that provides most of the rules that you would need to know if you're staying here, generator hours, and information about the 14-day camping limit, for example. There's a little map of the area. So you just pull out one of these fee envelopes, fill out the form, take the ticket and attach it to the post at your campsite, and you put your money inside this envelope and deposit it right here. Very simple. And again, it's first come, first serve. You can stay up to 14 days. Pretty tough to beat. What do you get for that 20 bucks? Well, first of all, you get a nice level site that has gravel in it. So there is a gravel pad in your campsite. You get the usual amenities you would expect in a campground, like a picnic table and a fire pit. You also get vault toilets in this particular campground. I believe we have 3 vault toilets here. Even though you don't have hookups, no water, no power, no sewer, you can offset some of your water usage by taking advantage of those lovely vault toilets. Let's take a look. And yes, for those of you who can read Braille, hello, anyone home? What is there to say about a vault toilet? Not much. But there is no shortage of toilet paper in here. So, can I film this?
No.
How uncooperative.
It's from my OnlyFans page.
My wife has an OnlyFans page I didn't even know about.
It was very nice. It was very clean.
Yeah, so that's part of what you're paying for your 20 bucks a night.
Yep.
There is also garbage disposal here in the campground. So in addition to vault toilets, you have a beautiful garbage dumpster. So yes, you can dispose of your refuse right here. This particular campground also has a campground host. So if you have any questions or concerns during your stay, you can consult with your campground host and your trip can get even better.
We're volunteer hosts for the BLM. The BLM has 27 campgrounds in the Moab area within 30 miles of Moab. They've got more campgrounds farther south outside of that 30-mile perimeter. It's all dry camping. There is no power or water or hookups in any of the campgrounds. So, you'll need to use the systems of your trailer or be prepared if you're in a tent. The amenities would be pit toilets in all of the campgrounds, a fire ring, and a picnic table for each site.
And trash.
And trash, yes, and they pick up trash. With the 27 campgrounds, they have 6 or 7 hosts generally. Keep in mind, they're volunteers. They're people that want to help out, and they put them sporadically throughout the areas. For instance, we're here at Goose Island, and Angie and I take care of this one and the Grandstaff Campground, which is the next one a mile up the river. There's generally a host at the Big Bend Campground, and that host takes care of the 5 campgrounds within that area. And then farther up the river, because there are 12 BLM campgrounds from the Lions Park up to the Dewey Bridge. There's 5 more campgrounds on the upper part of the river, and there's generally a host there at Heidel. And the Heidel campground host takes care of a lot of the river traffic.
River boaters, kayakers.
Unload at the boat ramp there.
Hosts are usually only there spring and fall because we do have highs in the summer, like 110, and we still get snow in the winter. So
the cliffs right above us are the southern border for Arches National Park, and the adrenaline junkies that do come out here, we have had people base jump off of those into the campground, which is a no-no. It's cool to see, but it's a no-no. There's plenty of places on the BLM land where people can base jump, such as right over there.
Right. Now, there are a lot of BLM campgrounds in this Moab area, and they are a wonderful option for those of you who want to stick your teeny tiny little toe into the water of camping off the grid with no hookups. In addition to the solo campsites here, there are a couple of group campsites. So for those of you who are into group action, you know who you are. You can swing by and park your rig in one of those group sites. And these are reservable, or I believe you can pull up and you could stay for one night if they are unoccupied. So you have a covered pavilion, you have 4 picnic tables, you have a cooking grill, and the obligatory fire pit, and a really nice big area back here where you can relax and hang out with your friends and do whatever group activity you're into. And of course, these have a beautiful view of the cliff wall and the river. So you have to use your imagination. There's some river right on the other side of that.
You can see it over there.
Let's take a look.
It's interesting to have this chain that runs down to the water. I guess maybe so you could tie up kayaks or boats.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
You could chain your loved one down by the river. I think that was a Neil Young song.
Often people come to Moab expecting that there's a tremendous amount of BLM land here, which there is. About 15 years ago, when this area started getting very popular, the BLM began making these campgrounds basically for 2 reasons: to deal with human waste and to deal with the trash.
yes.
To protect the environment from that a large amount of people coming to this area.
You know, I've had some people tell me, Sean, give it up. The country you and I grew up in no longer exists. And while I understand that sentiment, we have an ongoing responsibility to be good stewards of the land and to pass along our culture to the next generation. So just take a little pride in your surroundings. Take a little pride in your behavior. Maybe there is some sort of golden camping rule we can come up with.
What could people do to help us? Well, certainly, even though we do have dumpsters in the campground, pack it in, pack it out, no matter where. Sometimes it's a little discouraging for us to walk into a campground after somebody's left and pick up their garbage after them. I mean,
in the fire ring, because most of what they leave, they shouldn't. Either you burn it or put it in the trash.
be clean. I mean, treat these campgrounds like you would your home.
This contraption, this is called a fire pit. This is not a garbage can. Please do not use fire rings as garbage cans. You know, there are ravens in this area who love to pick up trash and scatter it around. So when you put trash into a fire ring, eventually it's going to end up all over the campsite and campground. So just put trash where it's supposed to go, in a trash receptacle and or in the campground dumpster.
We didn't do this to be somebody's maid. Most of what Angie and I do is answer questions and try to direct people to how they're going to enjoy their time down here.
Yeah, where they want to take a drive, what hike.
You do get the benefit of being in some beautiful natural areas. In this case, we are located next to a highway that's running right along the Colorado River outside of Moab. A lot of these campgrounds are located in fairly close proximity to that highway. So if you're really wanting that out there, away from everyone feeling, well, you're not exactly going to get that here. You are going to get a safe and secure campground environment with the amenities I've mentioned, and with beautiful views. We really have beautiful views in every direction. Adjacent to the campground, you will find a fantastic bike path that runs up and down the stretch of highway. No motor vehicles, but dogs are allowed.
So pretty.
And you will see many bikers taking advantage of this path. We step out the door of our Airstream. Facing us is the southern border of Arches National Park. Behind us is more Bureau of Land Management land. And you have lots of freedom back there that frankly you don't enjoy inside the national parks.
I would say just don't come thinking that Friday afternoon that you're going to find a spot, because you're very close to Moab, because you probably won't. You're going to have an idea or two to find a place to camp, because your first spot here is a mile away is probably going to be full.
Checkout time here is at 12 noon, and we've decided to re-up for one additional day. So in goes our fee envelope. Easy peasy.
There is no monies received at the Moab Field Office from Washington. All of the fees that are collected here in the campgrounds go to maintain the campgrounds. And I think that's important for people to know. Because of Goose Island's proximity to not only Moab, but Arches, we're literally 3 miles from Arches and 2 miles outside of Moab. This campground generally fills up first. And then as you get a little bit further away from the central hub, it's more likely that you're going to find a campground. So what Angie's saying is that often these first 7 campgrounds that are fairly close to Moab on the east side of the Colorado and the campgrounds on the west side of the bridge on the Colorado fill up very quickly in the day. People will come in, secure their spot, and go out and adventure, and then come back to
in the off seasons, in the shoulder seasons, which is where most people like to travel here for the weather, it's usually by 10 or 11 that they're full. So it's pretty soon in the day.
Right. So have a backup plan. You may want to familiarize yourself just where the campgrounds are and realize that during March into the end of May, and of course September through the end of October, this area is very popular. What we have found is a lot of people will have a reservation in town so that they know they're going to have a place to stay that night, but then the next morning go out and find themselves a spot in one of these BLM campgrounds, or even the National Forest campgrounds, or of course the state campgrounds, because the state of Utah has Dead Horse Point campground.
Now, to find these campgrounds, we typically would look first, as always, to Campendium, campendium.com, and also the Campendium apps. You can stay in these campgrounds for up to 14 days at a time, which is really nice. And really, once you've claimed your site, you can make a decision every day if you want to stick around. So if you travel like Christy and I tend to travel, you like to meander, you like to wake up and figure out what you're going to do and where you're going to go on that particular day, these campgrounds are a wonderful choice. It's kind of the way it used to be in some of our national parks, where you could just show up, grab a site, and hang out for up to 2 weeks without much hassle. I'm thankful that these opportunities still exist for us today, and we have just had a wonderful time here at Goose Island in Utah. And I will say, we've stayed at some different BLM campgrounds up and down this highway. They all have something unique to offer. Some are closer to certain hiking trails than others. Some are closer to town than others. So when you come to Moab, just know there are more opportunities for camping than being in a full hookup, privately owned campground, or than being in completely off the grid, out in the wilderness, boondocking areas. This is kind of a happy middle ground.
So out here in the western United States, we're very fortunate that we have almost 250 million acres of public lands. And the BLM, along with the Forest Service, manages a vast majority of those. In a lot of places, of course, BLM land, you can disperse camp. You can go find an area that's a flat area, pull off the side of the road, and enjoy it for free. Because of the amount of people who are RVing and tent camping and enjoying these lands, though, the BLM has begun to develop more and more of the BLM campgrounds like we have right here in the Moab area. They're not only located here, they're located in Nevada, some places along Highway 93 up through the Salmon River area in Idaho. It's just the BLM's way of helping try to manage, again, human waste and human trash, and so that we can leave it for the next generation to enjoy without having issues with people overusing the land.
That's it, guys. A look at BLM campgrounds from Goose Island Campground near Moab in beautiful Utah. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe. We are getting back on track with lots of great videos in the pipeline. Thanks, guys. And remember, here on Long Long Honeymoon, members of Lo Loho Nation say, Lo Loho. So here are our neighborhood turkeys on their evening stroll, just like us. Well, really, my only substantial complaint about this campsite is this sort of central area, which is muddy and at the moment is forming a small pond. But otherwise, very nice site. I want to give a quick tip of my hat to the South Maverick station here in Moab. There are a couple of Mavericks. On the south end of town, you get not only a free RV dump station, but also free potable water. So these are really wonderful services for the RV community. Come support Maverick for providing these services and leave them clean and tidy, please. Now, about the ceramic coating application, there are a couple of different methods that they will use to apply ceramic to a trailer. They can spray the ceramic coating onto the trailer, or they can apply it by hand, but the end result is the same. Every hard surface on the trailer receives the ceramic coating.
Coat everything. So we're coating your entire exterior, all your metal, your emblems, your lights, your labels, your pinstriping, your locks, your propane covers, everything to provide as much protection as we possibly can.
Now, just to be clear, this ceramic coating is quite different from what you might find in a local car shop. This formula has been developed over the past couple of years here in the United States. But not only is this formula extremely hard, Brian applies 3 coats of it onto the trailer. Technicians go around the trailer in 3 passes. The first 2 coats are pretty thick, and the third coat is thinner and more glossy. This costs around $4,000. Your trailer may be different. For a specific price, you need to talk to Vinny and or Brian.